Welcome back to Magoo's Reviews. All right, y'all. So J. Cole pulled up on Cameron, pretty much asking him, yo, what's up with the lawsuit and everything like that. Then they had an interview. But before we get into the video, we just passed 1,000 subscribers, y'all. So on the road to 10,000. We're going to hit 100,000. We're going to be at a million. We're going to claim it will happen. So please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Definitely does a whole lot for my channel, man. Gets me out there in the algorithm, man. So please definitely hit the like button. So, all right, y'all. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. Now, we all know about the whole not necessarily a back and forth. We all know Cameron was suing J. Cole because, recently the whole situation with the songs, not getting paid for it and everything like that. So there was a lawsuit potentially going on. Now, J. Cole pulled up to the studio while Cameron was, doing his show. And pretty much he was in the back like, yo, really? Like lawsuits? That's what we doing, right? And Cameron was like, yo, what's up, man? Now, I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. That felt very skittish. It felt very WWE, and I love professional wrestling. But it definitely felt like, yeah, this is what we're going to do. Come out on, what I'm saying? It definitely felt that way. Because, when I saw it, I laughed because I'm like, I don't know about that one, man. Like, that very much felt like a skit to me, you know what I'm saying? Because I felt like if J. Cole was pulling up to the studio, Cameron definitely would have known ahead of time. You know what I'm saying? He would have known, like, J. Cole would have hit him up with somebody on the team like, yo, J. Cole wants to pull through. Oh, yeah, let him come through. You know what I'm saying? But that felt very skittish. Now, I will say this. During the interview, they did go back into the, Kendrick Lamar and the Drake beef. That's something that either one of these guys, when Drake does his interviews, whoever, you know what I'm saying, they're going to ask about the battle and stuff like that. And they asked J. Cole about it too. The desk asked him when he backed out last time, and he said his wife was crying, when he apologized and everything like that on stage. So yeah, getting right into it, it says that J. Cole, he felt that the battle became very tribalism. He says in one clip making rounds on social media, Cole was adamant about how much he felt disgusted by the tribalism on both sides. He likened the beef to an election where people were siding with either Democrats or Republicans. This is Cole's words. The world became like politics. You're either Democrat or you're Republican. You're either Kendrick or you're Drake, Cole explained. I was disgusted both ways, right? He goes on to say, Cole went on to say that he felt as though the entire beef was becoming some sort of campaign for people to tear down Drake. He noted that Drake is great and people are trying to create narratives otherwise. The out of hand, that to me is disgusting, how people try to use that opportunity to show how they really felt about Drake at the whole time. Or just to pile on and tear the dude down and create a narrative as if he's not great. It was a whole campaign, Cole continued. Overall, it's clear that Cole saw things going and he decided the best course for him was to back out. It says we're 2 years removed from the Drake and Kendrick Lamar, but it still remains part of a larger narrative while Kendrick Lamar has moved on, Drake is still picking up the pieces as he looks to release Iceman, right? Article is from Alexander Cole from HotNewHipHop.com. Pretty solid article. Now, here's my thing. Tribalism. Name a point in hip hop when it came to a battle of this magnitude where tribalism wasn't involved, where there weren't people who were picking sides. It's always been that way. Tribalism has always been that way when it's come to battles. The East Coast and the West Coast is a great example of tribalism, right? It's a great example. Like, yo, you either East Coast or West Coast, especially back then, because things went very far left. We lost two of the greatest of all time from it. You know what I'm saying? At a very, very young age, man. Very young age. That Tupac and Biggie situation is extremely sad, but it was tribalism involved. Yo, I'm West Coast to East. That's how it was. You know what I'm saying? Even with the J and Nas, man, there was tribalism. You know what I'm saying? The battle of this magnitude, there was going to be tribalism between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. That's just how things are. That's how it's always been. So to me, this isn't nothing brand new. This isn't nothing we ain't seen before. So what are you talking about? It makes me laugh because I'm like, what are we talking about now, right? You know what I'm saying? Let's not change up the narratives. It's always been like that. And it was always going to be this way because that's what hip hop is, man. I feel like I'm not saying him particularly, but there are people who out there who don't really know the history of hip hop and stuff like they may think like that, but no, man. Tribalism, yeah, it's always been like that. People are going to pick sides, man. The people are going to pick sides on their favorite. I was rocking with Kendrick, you know what I'm saying? I was rocking with Kendrick, win, lose, or draw. But at the same time, like I said, tribalism always been a part, especially with battles this high. You know what I'm saying? Of any battle, you know what I'm saying? Like now with the whole thing with, people trying to tear down Drake and everything like that. I will say this. When Drake dropped push-ups, people like push-ups. There are people out there who felt like, yo, push-ups was a pretty solid diss. I don't think push-ups is better than back-to-back. Matter of fact, I think out of the disses Drake has dropped since back-to-back, he hasn't made a diss record better than back-to-back, if I'm being honest. But at the same time, I felt like push-ups, when it came out, people did like push-ups, you know what I'm saying? Till It Made Freestyle, not so much. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Till It Made Freestyle wasn't a good one. Family Matters, when that dropped, it didn't have time to breathe. You know what I'm saying? I felt like out of Family Matters, the second verse was a solid verse. You know what I'm saying? I like the beat switch and everything like that. But I felt like as far as his angles that go in at Kendrick, they weren't strong enough. You know what I'm saying? It was enough that he couldn't came back from it. We all saw what happened, 30 minutes later we meet the Grams. But at the same time, when Push-Ups came out, there were still people rocking with Drake. There was still people rooting for Drake at that time. You know what I mean? So I felt like, yeah, the whole thing of people trying to tear down Drake, nah, that wasn't the case, because a lot of things that happened post-battle was Drake's fault. A lot of things that happened post-battle was on Drake, and that's something that we have to stop. Drake is a grown man. You can't keep putting the cape on for him, because he did a lot of things on his side to make things worse. That lawsuit is number one. And when you came out, you looked at Cam'ron and said lawsuits, you got to look at your man and say the same thing. Wait, lawsuits? Because that's what we never seen before in hip hop. So yeah, man, a lot of things that happened post-battle, Drake did on his own. You know what I'm saying? If Drake would have went away, took a break and all that, came back, he would have been fine. But everything he did was his fault. I'm just being honest. You know what I'm saying? When you got people out here who really caping for him and all that kind of stuff, making excuses, like, nah, man, that's not hip hop, man. Like, be a man about it, homie. You took the L, move on. You know what I mean? But that's why I felt like the people trying to tear him down and all that kind of stuff. Nah, I don't believe that one. I don't believe that one. Well, I'll put it like this. Yeah, part of the tribalism thing, there were people who weren't messing with him. But at the same time, there were definitely people, there was a large people like, yeah, man, Drake's going to win this battle. To me, I never felt that way. You know what I'm saying? I never felt like he could beat Kendrick. I felt Kendrick was a way more versatile MC than Drake ever has been. You know what I'm saying? If I'm just being honest. And the sole fact that, yeah, you got writers in your corner and all that kind of stuff, you shouldn't be able to battle. You know what I'm saying? Like, have people write your bars and give them to you. Like, nah, man, I feel like you shouldn't be able to battle, because I feel like that's a whole cheat code. You know what I mean? But that's in the past. But at the same time, because of the magnitude of this battle, and it's something we've never seen before, this is going to continue on. It's going to continue on. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they ask Drake or Kendrick, if they ever do interviews, you know what I'm saying? If Iceman does come out and Drake does do like interviews and stuff like that, yeah, they're definitely going to ask him. Now, they may be shoehorned, because like I said, a lot of times with these artists, not just hip hop, but any, form of medium, they do have, people out there like, hey, well, ask this, don't ask that. So, I'm saying, like, to me, the whole thing of tribalism, that's something we've seen before. It's something we've seen before. This isn't nothing new that we haven't seen before in hip hop. So tribalism has been there before in hip hop. And at the same time, trying to tear Drake down, I felt like a lot of things Drake did post-battle just made things worse. If he would have just went on and not mind his own business, but if he would have just went back, picked up the pieces way before ahead of time, and not do the things that he did post-battle, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, that lawsuit was ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know what I'm saying, from like, not just the memes, like the posts and all that, like you could really tell, like, yeah, that joint was really messing with him. It was really messing with him. Like, even when he's like going at, who was it, like the governor, not the governor, like a mayor, somebody in Canada who was at the Kendrick Lamar show. Like, when you're doing all this kind of stuff like that, man, you're doing it to yourself. You're doing it to yourself, homie. But at the same time, yeah, we're going to see what more comes out of this J. Cole and Cam'ron interview. Again, it felt very WWE, him coming out. But yeah, we're going to see what else comes out to this. Anyway, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Hope everybody has a blessed day. I'll see y'all soon. Have a good one.